Welcome to Culture and Christianity. It's Thanksgiving weekend. This Sunday is the first Sunday of the Advent season. The 4 Sundays that precede Christmas have been celebrated in the Christian church for centuries as Advent, a very special time in the Christian calendar. We have prepared a little helpful tool for this Advent season for you and your family. It's really a family book. It's a 25-day devotional called Lead With Your Faith at Christmas. Really intended for families. They're kind of their Christmas-themed devotionals, maybe good conversation starters for your family at the evening table or when you're together with friends for the holiday. There's even some from games and some recipes. We really designed it to try to help bring faith a little more front and center into your family at Christmas. I hope it's a blessing. I'm sure they'll put it on the screen. You can go to the website if you want the details. You can get that. My guest today, I'm really excited to introduce to you Colonel Keith Isaacson. He's Israeli, and he was responsible for a big part of the defense in the communities along the Gaza border that suffered so grievously on October the 7th, a couple of years ago. So that horrendous terrorist attack is not theoretical to him. Most of the men he led lost their lives that day. I think his story will be a blessing to you. You know, I know Israel is and the Jewish people are an increasingly controversial topic. That's unfortunate. It's especially unfortunate that much of the hatred is coming, or at least being supported from within the church. It's not a new thing. The Christian church has been the primary sponsor of Jew hatred through all the centuries. That's probably the subject of another podcast. I would just remind you that our Messiah is an observant Jewish rabbi, and that apart from the Jewish people, we would have no salvation, we would have no covenants, we would have no scripture, we would have no prophets, we wouldn't have a Messiah. Biblically speaking, we are deeply indebted to the Jewish people. That's not to say everything that the state of Israel does is correct by any stretch of the imagination, but those of us who are Christ followers are indebted to the Jewish people. I think you'll enjoy Colonel Isaacson. He has a remarkable story of triumph over tragedy. I think what you'll note, I know it's something that was so apparent to me, was that in spite of the great loss of life and the horrible suffering and heinous behavior, he's not captured by hate. There's a remarkable freedom in his heart, and I would extend that to you. That, you know, evil touches all of our lives, and we don't want to be consumed with hate and unforgiveness and resentment. The colonel certainly isn't, and I pray as you listen to his story that it will bring freedom to you in the midst of your circumstances.
This is Colonel Keith Isaacson, and I don't know your formal title, forgive me. You're the Director of Security for Eshkol, which is the region, the region primarily, we would call it a county, bordering the Gaza area. This is your first visit here. Anything you want to say to our congregation? You've never been exposed to hillbillies quite like this before.
You know, after flying took me 24 hours to get here. And the reason I'm doing this is mainly 2 reasons. One, the fellowship asked me, and when they asked me, I do it. And the second thing is just to say thank you to all the people that are here and that are listening to us, that have been helping us for years. And when I sat with Pastor Alan, I understood he's been to Israel and he's been helping Israel for decades. So just to thank you, and that we in Israel, we need this help. We need this backing. We need the prayers. And you can see what's happening in the world. Many countries all of a sudden are voting against Israel, antisemitism rising. But I think we as Jews living in Israel, we know we have the backing of people like you. Thank you very much.
Well, I'd like to start. Too many Americans get their news from unreliable sources, places of great integrity like TikTok. Although I'm not sure that has less integrity than some of the more celebrated formats these days. So my apologies to TikTok. But October the 7th was personal to you. It was your assignment and you were in the midst of that. Can you give us just briefly what happened and the impact of that? I mean, I have the numbers, 216 killed that were under you, but I mean, can you give us a bit of an overview?
So my region is one of 4 regions that are around the Gaza border. It's the biggest one, 32 communities out of 66. So I'm in charge of 32 communities. The communities are small, between 500 and 1,200 people living in a community. But it's very different to, when I came into Nashville, I said, wow, everything's open, trees, lakes. With us, everything's closed. Every community that I'm talking about has got a fence, electric fence, a road, security guards, cameras, and everything. We knew what was happening on the other side. We knew that they're not our friends, but we didn't realize that for 12 years, since plus minus 2012, they've been organizing this attack, and they surprised us. They surprised us in 4 different ways. One, the amount, we are talking between 5,500 to 6,500 terrorists that penetrated the border. 2, a group that hit all our radar systems, cameras, radars, and everything. They did it in a very professional way. At the same time, attacking 28 communities, 16 of my communities, and the rest in the other region. Altogether, 28 communities simultaneously. And the third thing, attacking all the bases. We have many bases, small bases like companies, platoons, battalions, brigades, divisions. They attacked all these units simultaneously. And the fourth thing that they did was very clever, is they did ambushes in every entrance to the 65-kilometer area. So anyone that tried to come and help us was attacked. So these 4 things simultaneously by 6,500 terrorists for the first 12 hours is a lot of chaos. No one knew what was happening, and it was a surprise, and hopefully it won't happen again. But we said that after the Yom Kippur War, and we said that after Second World War. So don't say never, just make sure that you are ready.
October the 7th was the greatest loss of Jewish life in a day, single day, since the Holocaust.
Exactly.
And it was personal. I heard you tell your story in another setting, and your daughter was in another one of the communities, and she was calling you for help?
Well, at the same time, on Friday, the 6th of October, we had dinner together. It's, I think, very similar to you guys. We get together. So I have 2 sets of twins. They all came for the dinner on Friday. One daughter went back to her small village, which is about 10 minutes away. My other daughter lives in Tel Aviv, so she went back to Tel Aviv. The third daughter lives about 5 minutes away, also in another community. And my son lives also in another community, also 5 minutes away. So after dinner, they all went to their houses. And my colonel, who has been a colonel for a year and a half, brought for the first time his young son to the base, 6 years old, and he asked me for an ATV. I said, no problem, I'll wake up early on Saturday and give you the ATV. I wake up very early. At 6:29, the attack starts. My kids are all in different communities. I leave the house very quickly. My colonel, who was killed at 7 o'clock in the morning already, but at 6:29 sent me a message and said, get everyone into shelter. Everyone means the 17,000 people living in my community. So within 3 minutes, I sent a message to 17,000 people, get into shelter. I went home because I was outside already, got dressed into a uniform because I belong to the unit and I'm automatically recruited into the Israeli army. As I'm getting dressed at 6:40, he sends another message. We have been attacked in multiple places. So I said to where? Just tell me where, because we knew we were going to be attacked one day. Just tell me where, which community. He said, no, everywhere. So at 6:43 in the morning, I sent a message to all my officers. I have 33 officers. I said, get all your first responders out. We're at war. 15 minutes later, he was already killed, and I was on my way to the base. I lost 32 of my officers that day, and everyone has a story behind him. Everyone is a hero because losing those 32 officers, we saved thousands. They saved, not me. They saved thousands of their own people, their own communities.
You don't have to look far to see that our economy is in real turmoil. Our nation is $37 trillion in debt. Inflation rates made it hard to buy and sell a house, even a car. We're all feeling it. When you go to the grocery store and you spend an extra $1 or $2 on every item, that gets personal in a hurry. Well, the most important thing we can do during uncertain times is to invest ourselves in knowing God better. Read His Word, pray. That's the only place we're really going to find stability we need for the disruption that I'm pretty certain is ahead of us. Beyond that, it's just plain wise to make the best decisions possible in our daily lives with our investments. When you think of all the options out there, gold is an investment that has stood the test of time. That's why I work with Preserve Gold. They've treated me with honesty, integrity, kindness every step of the way. They're offering a free wealth protection kit, and all you need to do is text ALLEN, that's ALLEN, to 50505. As a bonus, you'll get up to $15,000 in free gold and silver with a qualified purchase. Go ahead and text them today.
So in the midst of the chaos that morning, your daughter calls.
She calls. I don't answer her. She says, I hear there's a lot of shooting in the community. I had no communication because I said the communication was a problem. So she phones. I'm already in the field, so she phones my operation room. She says, I hear a lot of shooting. I didn't really know what was happening there. I first said, go to your grandmother's house, go into the shelter and wait there. And that's what she did. At the end of the day, 17 terrorists entered that community. A lot of fighting. 5 of my officers were killed, 2 injured, but no civilian. The fighting was so severe, and most probably a lot were killed and injured from the enemy. They just decided to steal 2 other cars, and all 17 with the injured and with the dead went back to Gaza. She stayed for 10 hours in the safe room until my brother, who before, since the morning, was fighting at the junction, not letting any terrorists enter the 7 particular communities where I live, killed many terrorists that day. Only after 10 hours went to him. The other daughter with my grandchild, she also tried to get hold of me and wanted to get permission for me to leave the community and go towards Eilat, far away. But unfortunately, I couldn't give her approval. The reason was, everyone talks about the 7th of October, but the last terrorists that were killed were the 21st of October. We were fighting for 2 weeks. No one talks about it. Yes, 95% of the fighting was the 7th of October. But there were many, many pockets of terrorists. They came very well equipped. They wanted to do much, much more what they did. And there was a lot of fighting for 2 weeks. But we managed after 2 days, by Monday, this happened on Saturday, by Monday to get all the 17,000 people out of the communities to Eilat, to the hotels in Eilat and to the Dead Sea and to Tel Aviv. And only a small group of security officers and, of course, the army took over this area. After a year, 22 communities came back. After 2 years, about a month ago, another 6 communities came back. And we are still 4 communities that will take between a year to 2 years to rebuild their communities because they were hit the most. So we still have 4 communities that we are waiting for them to come back within a year to 2 years.
You mentioned the shelters where you directed everyone to go. I think that's probably a little unknown to us. We have shelters for tornadoes. In Israel, they build shelters from attacks. Many homes have them, apartment buildings will have them, and in communities will have larger shelters. So when you said you sent all the people to the shelters, it was to protect them because the attack started with rocket fire.
For many years, especially since 2001, we've been attacked sometimes once a month, sometimes every couple of weeks, every couple of months, escalation.
Let me interrupt. Those communities along Gaza have lived under consistent rocket fire for many, many, many years.
Yes, 24 years. So we didn't expect a ground attack. We know rocket attacks. We used to rocket attacks. Every house, first of all, there's a law in Israel since 1994 that you build a house, you have to have a bomb shelter. One of the rooms is a certified bomb shelter. And who didn't have in our area, after 2014, the government actually paid and built shelters. So we were very used to these escalations, these rockets falling on us for many times, tens of thousands. I would like to put a question mark. What would happen if Mexico will shoot one rocket into Arizona, into Texas? What will happen to Mexico? So these escalations have been going on for 21 years, 24 years in our area. So the instant of the 7th of October, okay, another escalation, a lot of rockets, getting to the bomb shelters. But unfortunately, sometimes this was very different because of the ground attack. And a lot of people also were killed in the bomb shelters because the terrorists came into the houses. These bomb shelters are not equipped against shooting into the doors. It's not bulletproof doors. It's bulletproof. It's like a bulletproof building, concrete and everything, but the doors are not bulletproof, and it also is not against smoke. So what happened? They shot the doors, and people were actually, many families were holding the handle because it doesn't really lock. You don't really need to lock it because of bombs falling. So a lot of people were killed from the bullets from the other side. And where the terrorists couldn't get into, what they did, they just burnt the houses. There are hundreds of houses that were burnt, and most of the victims were found afterwards dead, or the remainings of the victims.
You know, almost everybody I know wants to feel better, have more energy. I mean, myself included. Well, I went to a concert a few months ago. It's been almost a year ago now, and I sat down next to a friend. Jordan Rubin was there. I made an offhand comment. I need to feel better, get a little healthier. He showed up in my office a couple days later with a plan for me. Part of it was a diet. My diet was centered on Oreos. He had some different ideas. But a part of what he brought to me was this multi-collagen protein. It's been a part of my routine for months now, and it's made a difference. More energy, I feel better, my joints feel better. It's real food from real food sources, helps us feel better. I recommend it to you. It's made a difference for me. I think it'll help you. Just go to ancientnutrition.com. You can put in code ALLEN30, that's ALLEN 30. You'll get a 30% discount, and it'll also bless our ministry. Again, that's ancientnutrition.com, Allen, ALLEN 30. You get a 30% discount on multi-collagen protein. You'll feel better and you'll bless our ministry. Thanks.
There's two more points I want to be sure we make, and it's a congregation, and I know you want to be respectful of where you are, but the truth is important on this. I went to D.C., to the embassy, to see some of the security video and such. And the attack began with trained terrorists, but it wasn't limited to that. The citizens of Gaza on their bicycles and their pickup trucks, I mean, it lasted for several hours, and they came in waves. And when they arrived, the treatment, it wasn't like you would expect from combatants. I don't have language to describe it. There was nothing about it humane.
You know, one thing I learned, we have a new mayor, it's a lady, and I heard her said, you know, we say they're not human beings, they're animals, they're monsters. And she said, no, they're human beings that have learned to hate, kill, destroy. Now you're right, a few waves. For instance, kibbutz near Oz. That's a kibbutz that was hit the most in my area, most severe. 76 hostages from that community. There's only 400 people living in there. 39 were killed that day. First wave was 120, what we call the Nukhba, the elite of the Hamas. But they were not the worst. The second and third wave, what we say civilians, they did the worst atrocities. The civilians, they did not have the weapons. They never trained to kill. They came whatever they had, slaughtered, raped, amputated, and whatever you can think of. It's the civilians that did the worst atrocities to our communities. And what I'm trying to say, if there's 2.2 million, I don't know how many there are exactly, but more or less, Palestinians living in Gaza, everyone is Hamas. Everyone. Because everyone is taught, unfortunately, since he goes from the moment he goes to kindergarten, 3 years old, he's taught to hate his neighbor, to kill, to slaughter. And it's not written in any Bible, not in the Quran, not in the Bible, nothing. But this is how they are learned. And even if we want peace one day, it will take decades and decades to get to what we want, which I don't believe, unfortunately. But yes, I have not seen those videos. I personally can't. It's not for me. The videos, unfortunately, I don't know why Israel should show the world those videos, but unfortunately, I know the world will say it's not authentic. But they were so proud of themselves, the terrorists, they all had these cameras on the head, I don't know what you call them. GoPro, that they filmed almost everything what they did. And we have everything. Because that day we killed 1,600 terrorists, we captured more or less 400 out of the 6,000, 2,000. So we have all the footage that I haven't seen, but we have everything. I'm here, sitting here and talking to you guys for two reasons. One, God, and you can't argue with that. And the second is actually the International Fellowship for Christians and Jews. 2021, they came to me and said, what do you need? What do you really need? What's something special? And I said, I need an armored car because I can't do my job when there's missiles and I'm going from community to community. I need an armored car. It took about first of all, that moment she said, you'll have it. It took about a year, and at the beginning of 23, I got my armored car. That day, I was attacked twice.
On October 7th, you were attacked
Yes.
twice. Yeah.
On October 7th, I was attacked twice. I still have the bullet holes in the car where it's not armored, because not everything is armored. And that car now is standing next to my house. And I have two cars. When there's a reason I have to go with the armored car, I go for the armored car. And if I have to go with the regular car, I go. So it's a good place to thank the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. There's also a few other communities around America that have been helping me, also like you, that have been helping for many years. They've been before October the 7th, during October the 7th, and the hard times now. We haven't finished. We're still at war. We still have to rebuild.
Well, some of you will remember right after October 7th, there was a number of people saying it was all a fabrication. It's the reason I went to look. But the point I've heard you make was that one of their objectives was to create enough terror that the Israelis wouldn't come back to those communities.
One of the hostages was a very good friend of mine, and she phoned me up at 8 o'clock asking for help, and then 10 o'clock asking again for help. At 12, she herself, her husband, her twins who were kidnapped. She came back after a month and 50 something days with her two kids. Her husband is still in Gaza. We know he's one of the 20 plus minor that is alive. And when she came back, I didn't call her. It wasn't for me, but she phoned me and she said she wants to talk to me. And she said they kept asking her all the time, are you going back? She's from Nir Oz, from that community that was suffered. Are you going to go back? Of course, she's not stupid. She says, no, I'm not going back. But they asked many, many times. The Hamas, there were a few groups to kill, groups to, the main thing is to kidnap and capture. That was their main goal. And the third group was to destroy. And the idea to destroy doesn't also matter if they killed. There were about 40 or maybe a bit more Thai workers that work in our area that were killed. It didn't really matter to them. The idea was to destroy and kill and make sure that we won't want to come and live in that area again. But they don't know who they're dealing with. Not only that we're not coming back, we are rebuilding, we're going to expand, and we are going to be better and better and better.
Hey, thanks for joining me today. Before you go, please like the podcast and leave a comment so more people can hear about this topic too. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to Alan Jackson Ministries YouTube channel and follow the Culture and Christianity podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast. Together, let's learn how to lead with our faith and change our culture. I'll see you next time.